So this time is like a little challenging, but we can, the recipe's up. And if anybody wants to watch it afterwards, we have the recording. So why don't we get going? And if you guys have any questions along the way, just interrupt me and we'll start. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out some pecans. I'm from Canada. We call them pecans. I got these nice ones. They're pecan halves, and they don't need a special Pesach certification if they're halves. You can just get the regular ones. I got them from Village Marketplace on Dumpster. So I'm going to measure out a cup. And I'm going to go turn on my oven. I'm going to preheat it to 350 now. And I'm going to chop these up. Not too fine. They're going to go on the top of our toffee matzah or matzah crunch or matzah crack or however you call it. Everybody has like a different name for it. And then we're going to toast them. Excuse me. So we're going to do that. And I have I have a little baking sheet over here, just with a little bit of parchment on it. So I'm going to put these on my baking sheet. And we're going to stick them in the oven just for a few minutes just to get a little toasted. But you want to keep an eye on them because pecans really burn quickly. So maybe like check them after even 3 minutes or 5 minutes. You want them to get a little caramelized, but not burnt. So I'm actually going to wait till the oven preheats. But in the meantime, I'm going to take my other pan. I have another bake pan over here. Look how nice and shiny it is. That's a Pesach pan because like I never use it during the year. I use it once a year. Look how nice it is. Wow. I wish my regular baking sheet looked like this. So, oh, that one was a little too short. We're gonna wrap it in tin foil. If you have any questions, just like stop me, ask your questions. And then we're going to put a little bit of parchment on top of this. And then we're going to set up our matzah. So you're going to see this comes together so fast. I know, Jean, you were saying if it's easy, you're going to see it's so easy. Thanks, Manya. I found it with my Pesach stuff.
You're welcome.
We were talking about that before. Okay, so I've got tin foil, and then on top of that I put parchment paper. I know some people don't even bother with the parchment paper, but I like to use parchment if I'm using foil when I can. And then we're just going to line the tray with matzah. So it's like super easy. So we're gonna see how many of these sheets fit. The nice thing about matzah is it's like super easy to do that, to make it fit nicely. Put a little square there where I have a hole. Okay. So we're basically filling the entire pan. So you can see that the whole sheet is full. And we're going to set this aside and we're going to make our toffee. So you can see already we're halfway done. It's only been 2 minutes. So here's my pot. We're going to use 2 sticks of butter. It calls for unsalted. I got salted, so that's what we're going to use. I actually like the flavor sometimes that a salted butter gives to like a caramel. I think it gives it a rich flavor, but you could really use either. Got my 2 sticks of butter, And you can definitely make this carb if you wanted. You can use margarine. And 1 cup of firmly packed dark brown sugar. And so now we're really like more than halfway done the recipe. So quick. Okay. We're gonna take this and put it on the stove. So I'm gonna take you along with me in my kitchen. Hello, you can see the mess. Sorry guys. And here we go. Let me just get this set up here. Sorry. Let's try this way. Sorry guys, give me a second. There we go. Okay, and we're gonna turn that on low. And I'm just gonna grab a fork. It says to use a whisk. I don't have a whisk for Pesach, so I'm just gonna use a fork. Sorry, the tripod's a little in the way there. So we're just gonna start letting that melt and cook down until it's nice and bubbly. It's gonna take us about 3 to 5 minutes until it's the way that we want. You can see the butter's already starting to melt. My oven is preheating at a snail's pace. But that's okay. So anybody making anything interesting for Pesach this year? Anything good? Karen, what are you making for Pesach?
What am I making? I'm making chicken with prunes and apricots.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And an apple matzah kugel. And my grandmother's sponge cake.
Wow.
Of course,
I want to make a sponge cake this year. I don't think I've ever made a sponge cake. Just, I remember making it with my booby like years and years ago, but.
Karen, is your sponge cake with matzah meal or with potato starch?
a potato starch. Potato starch and cake meal.
Oh, cake meal, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips?
Any tips?
Yeah.
Just you have to whip the egg whites till they're fairly stiff, and then just carefully mix them in with the rest of the egg yolks and the other ingredients. Just carefully fold them in so that you don't deflate the white.
Can you freeze a sponge cake?
Yeah, I don't see why not. It's basically a food cake, though.
Anytime somebody says my grandmother's recipe, I always get intrigued. I think it's got to be extra good.
I agree. So you can see that it's separating a little bit, but that's okay. We're just going to keep on mixing and it'll come together. So you can see like the butter is separate. I don't know if you can, let me see if I can turn on the light here. But the butter is kind of sitting a little bit on top of the caramel, but that's okay. We're just going to mix it and it'll come together nicely.
Karen, how many eggs are in the cake?
I'm not sure if she heard. Here, Melissa asked how many eggs are in the cake. Your cake.
My grandmother's recipe uses 12 eggs.
That's a good kind. That's a good kind. I see them.
Right.
I always look at the recipes and compare, and I see anywhere from 6 to 12, and I always think the 12 one must be extra good.
Her non-pasticca cake was 9 eggs, but the pasticca cake is 12 eggs.
Wow. So you can see that it's come together, but we're just gonna let it come to a boil, and then we're gonna basically pour it right on top of our matzah pan. So I'm going to, you can see it's already starting to bubble a little around the edges. So I'm gonna grab my matzah pan and put it right next to the caramel so that it's within easy access. And we don't want this to scorch, so we're just gonna make sure we keep on eating this, and it's already a beautiful color from the dark brown sugar. Hopefully, when this is ready, my oven will be ready at the same time.
I just saw in the store today these little tiny kits from Manischewitz for s'mores, like matzah s'mores. It's like tiny pieces of s'more, a graham cracker, but it's really matzah. And then they include in a box chocolate and marshmallows that's Pesach.
So cute.
Yeah, I thought the kids might like it.
Should check that out.
But I don't know how a matzah s'more would taste.
Right. Probably not so good. So we want this to be really like foamy and thick. So it's already getting nice and thick, and I see it's starting to get foamy. So just maybe another 30 seconds, it won't take it off. Okay, so I'm gonna just give this one more second. And when you take it off, just be careful because it's hot. So you can see it's really nice and foamy. It's thick. This is great. It's perfect. You can see how easy that was. It's just butter and brown sugar. That's it. Putting it on top of the matzah. So we're gonna work fast so that it doesn't seize up here on us. So I'm just gonna move this over so you can see what I'm doing, and we're just pouring this over. So nice and easy. Looks amazing, right? How good does that
Those
look?
look great. Really great. Like real caramel.
Yeah. And then we're just gonna take this and just spread it around. And when it goes in the oven, it'll get like a little bit thicker, and then we're gonna put the chocolate chips on our toppings. Okay, so that's like pretty, I mean, you can see how simple this is. It's gonna go in the oven now. So we're putting it at 350 for about 8 minutes. And then we're gonna top it up. Just make sure it's nice and even. The matzah itself isn't even, so the caramel keeps on falling back. That's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna stick this in the oven. I didn't know I had another sheet pan in my oven, so I'm gonna take that out. Give me 1 second. And I'm gonna put the pecans in the oven at the same time now because my oven is preheated. Okay, sorry. You were just staring at my grate there, so you can see it's all in here. Here's my matzah toffee. Here are my pecans. I'm going to take them out in a few minutes, and then and I'm going to set a timer now. Also, sorry for. Oops. There we go. My head. I'm going to set a timer now for 10 minutes. And I'm also gonna soak this in some hot water because it's caramel. And if I don't do that now, it's never gonna come out. So you just put some hot water in this.
It looks like a real cook's kitchen with a double oven.
I love my double oven. I didn't put it in this kitchen, but I'm lucky that it has it because I use it all the time.
Hmm.
So, but you, Melissa, are you making anything good for Passover?
You know, I'm still reviewing options. No
Reviewing
decision.
options. I hear you.
Yeah. I have ingredients, but they could go all different ways.
Right. Well, ingredients are the first step, right? Okay. If I was really smart, I would have set a timer for the nuts in the oven. But I didn't. So we'll just have to make do with my sense of smell. Hopefully I'll be fine. Okay, let's see. Take out my rivets. And take out the nuts. I think they're actually ready. They smell nice. I can see the matzo toffees already starting to bubble. Here, let me put this down so you can see how nice those look. Really like, they have such a beautiful caramel color. They smell really good. If you don't want to use pecans, you can use almonds or just salt or any combination of nuts that works for you. Karen, I know you said you've made it in the past. You also use pecans? Or do you use something else?
No, I use, I've used hazelnuts and I've used walnuts also.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
I love hazelnuts.
Mm.
Delish.
So what do you make?
I must have gotten that a minute late. I didn't realize Karen's made that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've made it several times. It's
Oh,
delicious.
that's
It's
Well, when Karen and I were talking about what class was going to be, I said, oh, I think I'll make matzo toffee. And Karen said, oh, this recipe? Oh, I know already. We already knew. So the next thing we have is our chocolate bits. So I'm just gonna get this ready, and I have an offset spatula, which is a really handy tool to use for the next step. But if you don't have one, you can just use a regular spatula or a knife. Either of those would work. So I have this. I also have really nice sea salt. It has like big, it's like Maldon sea salt. It's got this really nice big crunchy flakes. So I'm going to sprinkle some of that on top as well. Anybody have any questions? Cool. Great. So I had a great day. Hope all of you had a great day too. While we wait for.
So Leah, what are you making for Pesach?
That's such a good question. Well, first of all, I don't want to tip my hand because somebody here is coming to my Seder. Karen, you're on mute.
Oh, don't say.
No, but
Do you want me to
definitely
sign off so you can tell people, Leah?
No. It's like I'm just kidding around. I don't know. I mean, Manya's a vegetarian, so I'm probably, and she eats fish, so I'm probably gonna have some kind of fish. But
It's
that's
so
the second
funny because
Seder.
like when I was becoming, like more interested in Judaism, I like learned that when somebody describes themselves as a vegetarian, they always mean that they eat fish.
You mean like Jewish like from vegetarians?
It's a Jewish
That's what you're
vegetarian.
talking
It's a
about.
pescatarian.
Yeah, which is a pescatarian. It's not the same thing as a vegetarian, except from vegetarians always like eat. Yes, you're right. They often eat fish. It's funny. Yeah, I don't know. Probably a brisket. And maybe I'll make short ribs on the second night.
Nice.
Yeah, something like special for Seder. And I have some salad ideas. Like Melissa said, I have a lot of ideas. Like I have this, I'll show you. I have this binder, and every year I add to it, and I put in the recipes that I like, and I things that I see on the internet and things that my sisters tell me are good recipes, and I divide them up into different sections. So I have like, so I like to start looking at them, and then I get a lot of ideas. But I don't know about you, but sometimes I get to this place where I have so many ideas that I just, like paralysis, you can't decide. So I don't know how much that's helpful. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like in the oven. You're going to see how gorgeous. Do you see that? That it's bubbly and beautiful. So we're going to take it out soon. It says it has another 4 minutes. I don't want it to burn. So I might take it out in 2 minutes. We're going to see how it's doing because it's looking like pretty ready to me. I don't know if you can see so well through the glass door of my oven.
Yeah, we can see it bubbling.
Yeah. Yeah, but I have some favorite recipes that I like to make every year. Like my mom has these like Pesach bagels. They're basically like a baked matzo ball. They're so good. I bake like dozens of them every year. The kids love them. They have them with cheese sandwiches, And I always make macaroons and cookies and all the good stuff. So that's exciting.
The bagels sound intriguing. What's the main ingredient?
Matzah meal. That's the main ingredient. It's just matzah in a different form. But I'm happy to send you the recipe, Melissa, if you'd like. Just email me or text me afterwards, and I'll definitely get that to you.
I wish I could. I can't because I'm gluten-free.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So for some situations, Pesach is a great time of year for me because so much is non-gebracht, but then again, much is gebracht.
Right. Yeah. Right. Probably some desserts are better for you and some aren't, I guess, if it has like cake meal.
Yeah. I can find some recipes that just skip it all together, and some that have a little bit I can sometimes substitute.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to check on this. We still have 2 minutes on the timer, but it's looking good. I think I'm going to give it just another few, maybe 30 seconds, and then I'm going to take it out because I don't want it to burn. So definitely keep an eye on it if you make it at home.
Where did you say you bought the pecans? You said some kind of fruit store?
Yes, Village Marketplace on Dempster.
Okay, fine.
Dempster and Carla.
Right.
So they sell them with the nuts, but I bought the pecan halves because they don't need to be stay kosher for Passover. But the pieces apparently need a Passover texture if that's your thing. Okay, so I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna turn off my timer and grab it. I think it's looking pretty great. There we go. I'm gonna turn down my camera so you can see. And we're gonna, you see how nice that looks? It smells amazing. And we're gonna grab the chocolate chips.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Sprinkle them on. You're gonna see just from the heat in the oven, the chocolate chips are gonna start to melt. I'm just gonna give that a minute, and then we're gonna use the spatula and spread them. And the caramel is also gonna start to set. You're gonna see, hopefully I didn't take it out too early. I think it's fine. So I can see here, I don't know if you can tell that the chocolate chips are already getting a little bit melty. There's a little bit of a shadow in my kitchen.
This has got to be very fun for your kids.
Yeah, well, they're asleep, but I'm actually going to try to not have them eat this when they wake up in the morning so that they're not maniacs at school.
It'll be a hidden away treasure for the holiday.
That's right. Okay, so this is already starting to melt. You can see how like, oh, this is so much fun. I'm telling you, we'll all have to make this just to be able to spread the chocolate. It's the best part. I love buying kosher for Pesach chocolate chips because they don't have any added stabilizers or ingredients this time of year. Like they don't have any of the soy ingredients, which I think makes like a little bit of a richer tasting chocolate.
Do you have a favorite brand?
The California Gourmet are really good. They used to be not so expensive, but they've raised their price recently. But I feel like the Aguda came out with this like marketplace. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they had recently where you could buy things in bulk. So we bought a bunch.
I
Sorry,
don't
Melissa,
know.
go ahead. Yeah, so they had it right before, they had it like last week where you could order things in bulk. So I actually just got a case of Lieber's chocolate chips, and they're pretty good actually. The Lieber's chocolate chips are not bad. So here we go. I'm just smoothing this to the edges, trying to make sure it's all nice here. And while the chocolate is still hot, so nice, the chocolate just melts from the ambient, from the temperature from the caramel and the matzah. Just kind of make sure that this is nice and even, just because it's fun, not because it really needs to be. And now we get to go in with our pecans, whatever, and do this. Put them on. You could chop them a little finer if you like them finer. Look how beautiful. And then after this, you can just let it set in the fridge for about 20 minutes, half an hour. You don't want it to go too long because then it'll become too, the caramel will get too hard and it'll be hard to cut. And then I'm gonna just sprinkle some of my salt on top. And if you want to make it really fun, if you have kids and you make it for kids, if you have sprinkles, you can put sprinkles on top. You can put any other kind of nut on top. You can really like kind of go crazy with the toppings. I know some people drizzle white chocolate. They do a mix of chocolate, which ends up being really beautiful. And I like the sweet and salty combination. I think that's really tasty. If it wasn't Pesach, you could even put like pretzel pieces or peanut butter, you know, if you do that kind of thing. And there we go. You can see all done.
Beautiful.
And look how easy that was. Like that took us maybe 30 minutes, right? Start to finish.
Yeah, just about. Looks
Yeah. We'll just put this in the fridge until it sets up, until the chocolate hardens, but not too long. And then you can take it out and either crack it into pieces or cut it up with a knife. And that's it. So any questions from anybody?
I have a question.
Sure.
How big is the pan that you put the original butter and the brown sugar in?
My pot?
Yeah.
It's a saucepan. It's not a
Okay.
large pan. It's like a medium-sized pot. I don't really know exactly the size, but you could really use any size pot. The trick is that you just want it to get foamy and thick.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I have
No
a question.
problem.
Sure.
Sure.
How do you store it once you've broken it up or cut it apart? Like, do you put it in a
You-
plastic, or how do you do that?
Yeah, I would put it in a container or a plastic bag, and you could just keep it on the out on the shelf in the
Okay.
pantry. Yeah, on the counter. That's what I'm trying to say, on the counter.
A plastic Okay.
Do you have a preferred method for cutting it?
Well, the good thing about putting it on the tinfoil is that it's really easy to take out of the pan. So you just lift it up and put it down, and then you just take, I have a big chef's knife that I like to use for this. If you use a knife that's too small, it might be a little difficult, but I just take my chef's knife and kind of, and it doesn't have to be perfect squares. I think part of the beauty of the matzah is that you get kind of these nice irregular pieces. Like some people don't even cut it, they just break it apart with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me pre-Pesach class. And
Thank you for doing this.
yeah, you're welcome. And I hope if you try the recipe, please let me know how it turns out. And yeah, I hope everybody has a really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Pesach.
Thanks, Leah. You too.
You
Thank
too. Leah,
And maybe I'll
Bye,
see some of you
Leah.
around shul. Oh, sorry, Melissa.
what is your email address?
It's Leah, Leah, D like David, Neiman, Neim like Mary, A-N like Nancy, at gmail.com.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much, Leah.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Leah.
Bye.
Bye.